What's going on, party people? How are you? Lots to cover today when it comes to DFW residential real estate. We've got the peanut butter and jelly drive going full steam. If you don't have a summer fun guide yet, you're doing it wrong. We're going to tell you about all the things. But first, we want to know about what's going on in your world. What are your needs? What are your questions when it comes to residential real estate? Give us a call or send a text, 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008 or online at toddtremonteteam.com. Don't be shy with your questions. We are here to use our God-given gifts and abilities to make your life easier, to make life more valuable, to make sure that you approach your residential real estate, you're buying, you're selling, you're investing, you're wealth building, and just simply enjoying your home. We're here to make all of that more enjoyable, more valuable, a little bit easier on you. That's our goal. We would love to offer that to you. So you can find us online, toddtremonteteam.com, or you can call or text right now and let us know how we can serve you. 214-310-0008. As we make our way through the show today, we will talk about the obligatory topics of the day. We'll talk a little bit about interest rates, hopefully not a lot, because really I think we're all sick of talking about it. But it does matter, and it is in significant ways driving our local market more than it normally does. So we will cover what should you be doing as a buyer, what should you be doing as a seller, and honestly, a couple things you should not be doing. We can talk about some of the huge mistakes we're seeing buyers and sellers make right now. We have a full studio once again. Pretty excited to have the Rhoades crew with us. We've got the English Wonder, the Yanni Donnie, and of course, we have full price Courtney in studio. Always making noise from the back row. All right. So before we dive in and introduce our guests in a more appropriate introduction, Ian, tell them what is happening with this first segment and who's involved.
You know, it's brought to you by Patrick Leros and his entire team at Cardinal Financial. Okay. If you want to get a mortgage, if you want to refinance, if you want to get an investment property, start with Patrick. Go to patrickleros.com. You can do an application right there on his website. Give him a call, 972-728-3420. NMLS number 308804, or go to toddtremonteteam.com, click the radio tab, and you can find all of our recommended pros and vendors. Yeah! That's how you do it.
Lil John loves that. All right. You know Patrick. You guys are buddies, huh? So go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, we are buddies. Patrick Leros is a great guy.
All right, so Patrick has been my preferred lender for 20 plus years. My wife and I have never purchased a property with a residential mortgage without Patrick. So big fans. And that's just an extended shout out to Patrick because we had a friend in studio. Okay, really quickly, tell us who you guys are, and then I'd like to brag on you a little bit while you sit there and just take it.
Well, I thank you. My name is Scott Rhoades, and this is my wife, Kylie, and we've been residents here in Richardson for about 14 years now, and I grew up here, and Kylie's military kid and kind of grew up all around the U.S., and we landed here in Richardson eventually, and just absolutely love it.
Yep, and have had incredible impact all across our community, all across the Metroplex, big time McKinney, big time Richardson, everywhere in between, at churches and ministries like Young Life and many other places, loving on kiddos across the globe, really. And are the kind of people you want to spend time with and the kind of people you want to know more about. So if we can ask you some questions, we're going to do that. Now, before I do, let me cue up something fun. Speaking of fun, you need a summer fun guide. If you don't have a summer fun guide right now, in your hands or in your email, you're doing it wrong. Last year was our first annual, and it was kind of cool. Here's our original one, Kylie. Caught on a cord. That's year one, all right? Pretty solid. People loved that. Year two is a whole nother ball game. This thing is incredible. Magazine quality. All the incredibly talented people on our team, not named Todd, did a great job with this thing.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's phenomenally valuable. It will make your summer way better. No doubt about that. I guarantee it, or your money back, because it's free. I spent a fortune on it, but you get it for free. So go to toddtremonteteam.com right now. There's a banner across the top where you can sign up for a digital or a print one. We'll literally send you one, or you can come by and get it completely free. This should be in your purse, on your coffee table, on the refrigerator, or on your desk for the next 4 months, because there's so much good stuff in here on how to have a really great summer in DFW, or wait for it, Courtney, or not in DFW. Courtney, who most of you know by now, does this really amazing thing with All the Best Days on how you can have your best day in cities all across the world, certainly in the DFW area. In the Summer Fun Guide, she's got kind of a day trip in town, a short trip out of town, and then a little bit longer trip out of town. And the little bit longer trip is Pagosa Springs, Colorado, which you guys have fallen in love with, bought property, spent time there, and also made it available for others of us to go rent your property and spend time there. So let's start there if you're willing. Why Pagosa?
Yeah, we started going to Pagosa about 10 years ago. Some good friends of ours lived in Pagosa, and we started visiting them. Actually, a mentor of mine, and I'm actually a mentor of both of ours. And we started going up there and just absolutely fell in love with it, and fell in love with not just the place, but the people. It's a smaller town living. It's not as touristy as some of the other major kind of popular Colorado destinations, and honestly, it just felt for us more like a family friendly and kind of a second home.
No, I think the small town feel, I mean, it was just instantly, we connected with that, and getting away from Dallas and just kind of the hustle and bustle, and then you're just kind of taken into a different time, you know, like with the smaller, slower pace.
We've been to Pagosa, and every time I've ever been there was some sort of outdoor festival or gathering or like fair or like a sale in the town square or whatever. I mean, literally, it's never been our final destination. We've stopped off there a bunch and had really good brick oven pizza, and also bought some random carnival treat and like in town. And the kids see it, and you're like, okay, we're definitely stopping. So to me, it's like you drive through and you're like, we just got a snapshot of that movie scene where there's like some sort of event in town, and if you're not there, you're just not part of the movie. Like it's. I'm feeling everything you're talking about, and we've only stopped through. Also love the people that you get to go visit. My Young Life Leader's Young Life Leader, by the way.
Come on.
Just legendary generations of impact. Okay. In the Summer Fun Guide, we give a little hat tip to y'all's place there. So tell us really quickly about, you know, where that is, what it's like, and how people could find it if they wanted to go stay there.
Yeah, Todd, thank you. We invested in a property a couple years ago, and we call it the Hermosa Cottage, and it's in downtown. It's literally on Hermosa Street, and it is in the middle of everything, and it's walkable to restaurants. If you see the reviews online, you can just see that families are constantly saying just the location is unbelievable. I can walk to everything with my family. The river's across the street, and it just has a great feel to it. Maybe you want to add anything else to just kind of the feel of the house and location?
Yeah, I mean, it's right in the center of town and by the river, by all the coffee shops, the pizza joints right around the corner. And it's we made it like a cottage feel. So it's just charming. And
new hot tub as well, huh?
New hot tub.
Ian's already found it online. He's trying to book it before me. Punk. So here's the deal, folks. On page 9 of the Summer Fun Guide, Courtney tells you how to have your best day in Pagosa. And the way she does this, by the way, she has travel guides for Maui and all sorts of amazing places. You need to go check her out on social, find her website, and go buy the travel guides. This one you get for free because you have a Summer Fun Guide. Or do you? Go to ToddTremontiTeam.com and get one right now. They're free. I'm not selling anything. I spent a fortune on this. Okay, so she says you got to get moving, get coffee, get food, get shopping, get touristy, and get inspired. And we don't have time to run through all that right now, but we're going to check with Kylie. Do we agree on these tips? And is there one on there that you want to shout out for Pagosa real quick before we move on?
I mean, getting down to the coffee shop. Our dear friends own Root House Coffee, so that's shout out to them.
Name drop.
The corner.
Actually, it wasn't a name drop. She didn't say their name.
Hermosa Cottage. But yeah, just getting out into town and just being in nature and seeing, I mean, every season there's something to just grab hold of. It's beautiful and being outside.
We love Dallas-Fort Worth. This is where we live. This is where we work. This is where we play some. But let's be honest. Colorado's more fun a lot of the time.
We do live on, sorry to cut you, we do live on the surface of the sun in the summer. So it's a nice motivation to get out of here.
So the Summer Fun Guide tells you lots of ways to enjoy where we live and to escape the surface of the sun at times. But if you're going to get away, you should check out Pagosa and you should check out Hermosa Cottage. Ian's already doing that. Now let's talk about something other than Pagosa for a second. You don't know this about me, about you, but when your name comes up, I'm always like just like the awkward, distant admirer, your whole family, right? Of like, listen, those are the kind of people you want to be. You want to invest deeply in your community and beyond. You just want to love and care for people. I remember a conversation, you may not remember that this ever happened. We went to Starbucks probably 12 or 13 years ago. I was wrestling with, do I stay in the business world or do I go on Young Life staff? You were absolutely exploding an area for Young Life at the time. I'm like, dude, this guy's figured it out. We went and talked we talked a lot less about Young Life than we did about loving Jesus and loving people and just impact. And since then, I've watched you ping in all sorts of different environments and just continue to do the same thing. Why do you do that? How and why do you invest the way you do and just massively expand impact?
That's a great question. That's super kind of you. I mean, that's honestly something that I think God's kind of put a desire in me is to, I don't know if you guys ever know of who William Wilberforce was. Mm-hmm. You know, he helped abolish slave trade and 18th century, and he had a big impact. And he had these group of guys that he went around with, and they were great in a lot of different areas of their lives to have the biggest impact for justice and for meaning and that purpose in what you do. And so I think that's part of the thing that Kylie and I both are passionate about our hearts of. We love Young Life. We love being a part of what God's doing around the world through Edify, but we also love real estate and business and just great people. And we want to just make a difference in those different areas and however God calls us to.
William Wilberforce was from the same city that I'm from.
How about that? Just churning out greatness for hundreds of years. For hundreds of years.
Let's go.
I like Eric Metaxas's book. There's two different books where he references Wilberforce, but at one point he's literally talking about the kitchen of the house where Wilberforce is living before he really decides to go all in on the abolish, because it was going to be a political suicide to some extent for him to do that. And really my takeaway, which it sounds like is similar to yours, is this idea of who you live with, who you run with, who you eat and drink and play and talk with matters. And so that's what I see in you guys and love, and just want our listeners and our friends to know that when you get discouraged because some people just are cruddy, there are also Rhoades families out there giving their lives away in all facets. And what I really love about your story and why I wanted to have coffee with you that time forever ago was that blending of what most people would call traditional ministry and business and a desire and an ability to go and make money and build wealth and to wrestle with whatever that is. The world would want you to feel guilty about that sometimes, but also would want to raise you up and celebrate you at times. And how do you manage all that? And gifts that sometimes seem opposing, but are obviously designed to be phenomenally complementary. And the stewardship of the gifts and the resource, what we call time, talent, and treasure, is really hard to navigate at times. The opposition and the support for those things that can sometimes seem like they're just changing at all times. Hopefully you're encouraged by how encouraged I am by what you're up to, and the juice and the fuel it puts in other people's tank to go, okay, I could do both of those things well, or I could at least try, or I could ask you some questions and maybe put some more fuel in my tank to go do that. And I've seen you do that in real estate investment groups and ministry groups and men's groups. I've walked in to have breakfast with guys at more than one coffee shop and seen you at a table with other guys and been like, yes, they're getting after it. So be encouraged. And I know less about all that you're doing, but I know with Edify that's happening at a scale that I probably don't comprehend. You want to do 30 seconds or a minute on Edify and what's going on there?
You would be the one to do that, but
well, she's also,
I know
she's over here.
I give both of you credit for all of it, by the way.
But she's also starting up a flower business, and she's painting, and she's selling these paintings, and so she is extremely entrepreneurial on the other side over here. So
just creating, and we're always working together on projects, but from Pagosa to our home, and then Edify for sure, just the creativity and thinking outside of the box and being our worldview and just constantly a bigger perspective of like, it's not just here in our Western culture, but across the globe, like what's happening with the church, honestly, and outside of the building, being the church.
So if you're listening right now and you're thinking, what conversation is being had? The conversation that we're having right now is where people in our community, Richardson, DFW, are giving their lives away for the benefit of others. obviously for the eternity of others as Christ followers and people who are deeply passionate about a calling and a purpose for your life. And if you share that faith, wonderful, go and do likewise. If not, just know that on the level of a peanut butter and jelly drive, of feeding hungry people, on the level of an educational passion, on the level of, love your neighbor and be kind and thoughtful, and your life's not all about you and all your selfish entitlement and what you want. At whatever level you want to take that and be encouraged and inspired, go and be that kind of community member. If more of us do this, then this is an incredible place to live. It's an incredible place to parent children, to invest in marriages, to encourage others, to start a business, to work for someone, to be on mission in whatever way you see your mission. So that's why we're having this conversation. It's also to remind you to go grab a summer fun guide, to go contribute to the peanut butter and jelly drive. If you can, open up Venmo right now and send $5 or $20 or $100 or $1,000 to @PBJ Drive. @PBJ Drive on Venmo, or just go to pbjdrive.com. There's a lot of different ways that we want to be like the Rhoades family and have impact in our local community. It's also part of living here is you in many ways, you're going to get what you give, right? Like if you want your neighborhood to be a little bit more welcoming, be a little bit more welcoming, right? And if you want to do that for profit or not for profit, awesome. There's incredible ways to do that both ways. Now we've got a little bit of business we've got to get to, but I'd love to come back to you guys in just a second and talk a little bit more about some of the local impact of all of that jazz.
Yep. If you've not explored your home insurance or your auto insurance recently, reach out to DP Lambert and his team at Goosehead Insurance. You can reach out to dp.lambert, Lambert, at goosehead.com. You can give him a call, 214-614-8595. We've told you for years how much money DP and his team have saved. Myself, Todd, so many of our team members, clients. Do yourself a favor. Reach out to dp.lambert at goosehead.com, or head over to toddtremonti.team.com. Click the radio tab, and you can find all the recommended pros and vendors, including DP, right there.
Yep. And if you're thinking at all about getting some garage floor work done, coating some garage floors, if you're working out there, workshop, anything like that, or concrete coating of any kind, goodgaragefloors.com has been an incredible partner for us. They did not only my garage floor, but they turned our gunky backyard so-called basketball court, basically just a big ugly piece of concrete, into an awesome pickleball basketball court that we cannot stop using. It's like a magnet. When people at our house, they're just drawn to it. So we've had an incredible experience with goodgaragefloors.com. They are also an incredibly mission-driven organization that puts a percentage of every bit of revenue they have into serving kiddos all over the world. And some really awesome veterans-oriented ministries and nonprofits as well. So check out goodgaragefloors.com, obviously for your garage floors, but any other floor coating, indoor, outdoor, residential, or commercial. They're like mad chemists of flooring, and you don't need to be a mad chemist of flooring. But if you want something done on your floor, you want it to last, you want it to be worth the money, you want it to look good and increase how much you love your home, hosting or just being there, check out goodgaragefloors.com.
I think it'd be good to spend some time talking about investing in Airbnbs.
Yep.
Is it a waste of money? Is it worth it? And then I think one question that I think a lot of people have as they're kind of processing owning something that's not local is, how do you go about finding the right person to be able to manage that property for you?
Yeah, when we talk to people, we get obviously hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of calls and emails. I want to be an investor. And that's like saying, I want to be a business person. It's just so broad. So most people that we talk to fall into one of four categories: short-term rental, long-term rental. And when people say rental, they normally mean long-term rental, or a slow flip or a quick flip. And most people say flip, they mean quick flip. So you guys have invested in Pagosa and maybe other places, I'm not sure, in the short-term rental deal. So let's answer Ian's questions. What does it look like to do that in a place that you don't permanently live?
Yeah, Ian, that's a great question. I think one of the biggest factors is when you're not local, of finding a property management company that you absolutely trust and you've got eyes on the property and that they're carrying out the business that you want them to. Because, and we're fortunately, we visit Pagosa quite a bit, so we're able to see the houses, but even when we haven't been there for a couple of months, we're sometimes still pretty surprised at what sometimes we can find, because we want these things to be great and really to serve our people well. Yeah. So finding a property management company is key, and just finding local people that you trust in that market to understand what's going on with the market, because really COVID, everyone got excited about it. And now the market for short-term rentals has changed a lot the past year or two.
Yeah, it's waning a bit. I think there's forever legs in that industry because there's been a reset in people's expectations for short-term stays, not just COVID, but in sort of the gig economy with Uber and Lyft and those kind of things. People are a lot more likely to explore a variety of options. But yes, it's not gangbusters like it once was. And one of the things we caution people on, not to stop you from doing it, but to help you further evaluate that. And we talk to people buying and selling real estate all over the globe and connect them with other professionals that we either coach and train or network with. And we talk about, it's funny where the chink in the armor can be. Oftentimes it's literally like the cleaner. How do I find a cleaner that's not going to gouge me or that could even live in the community where these things exist? That sometimes is the bottleneck in the marketplace. And so you need to figure those things out. And then if you have any sort of mission drive to you where you're like, we want someone that stays here not just to pay, but to experience this, then you're narrowing the field even more to find someone that cares about that won't just nod and give you lip service. Not that that's what everybody has to do, but these are the things that it's not just a spreadsheet. It's not just how many doors can I get, what's my profit margin, and how can I crank out enough to get to this drive and retire young, fire movement, whatever. But I think that's a great note. You have to find a management company that A, can provide the service you need, and B, that you can trust. And then there's still some ways you can keep your eye on them. And if we had more time, we could talk a bunch more about that. So if we've got other questions, we'll address them. If you've got questions right now, call or text 214-310-0008, or you can find us online at toddtremonti.com. If you forget all of that, just Google Todd Tremonti, spell it as best you can. You'll find us. Call or text any phone number, fill out any form, message us on whatever you find online. We would be thrilled to add value to your life. If it is time for you to buy or sell a home, or to invest in real estate, we're still, after decades and decades, we're still guaranteeing to sell your house over the average price and under the average time. That's over the average price and under the average time. And we're guaranteeing we'll save you at least $5,000 throughout your purchase process. And right now is an incredible time. Even though the media tells you otherwise, it's an incredible time to do both, to be both a buyer and a seller. We're helping clients win big on both sides because of this murky middle uncertainty in the marketplace. Strategy wins. There is no one-size-fits-all strategy. Most people start this conversation way too late, and then they eliminate options, and they have to be impulsive, and they get themselves into a tough spot. You cannot start this conversation too early. Call or text right now, 214-310-0008, or online at toddtremontiteam.com. What is one of your favorite things about living in Richardson really quickly? Just to put you on the spot with no prep whatsoever.
I love our neighborhood. It's super diverse, but it's also just so welcoming. And I mean, there's young kids, high school age kids. Everybody's always out front in their yards, and it's incredible. There's a park right in the center of our neighborhood. And yeah.
In some parts of DFW, people don't even know the name of the neighborhood they're in. It's just kind of a grid system. Hey, we're at this street and that street. In Richardson, there's parts of Plano that do this well, certainly Wiley and some pockets like Benbrook and things like that. But Richardson does that differently. There's a hospitality and a warmth. Again, other places have that, but Richardson does this really well, especially on the west side. A lot of people really, really celebrate that. Don't give me emails from the east side. But I love that you love that. I see that. And if you're looking for that, reach out to us, toddtremontiteam.com. Welcome back, party people. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging with us through the break. Lots going on in DFW real estate. Lots happening across the nation right now with news about mortgage rates, news about total transactional volume, massive inconsistency in consumer behavior. We talked this week on our team about the inconsistency of buyer behavior and how showings are up, showings are down, offers are, competitive, more and less competitive. So there's just a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the overall marketplace, and we're definitely seeing that here locally right now. And we're going to talk a little bit later in the show about what you do with that if you're a buyer or a seller right now. But before we do that and before we move on, if you are currently thinking about buying or selling, let me speak directly to you. I would argue 80+% of the people that we're talking to, and that's hundreds of people every week, are in the following situation. They want to buy or sell, and they can buy or sell, but they are likely not buying or selling because they emotionally feel a sense of uncertainty. And many of them are saying to us something along the lines of, it feels dumb to buy or sell right now. It doesn't feel like the right time. And when we unpack that with a lot of people, it ends up being, I think I might look silly if I bought right now. And what I'm telling people is, you've got to wrestle well against those feelings. Those feelings are real, but they are likely not reliable. And the reason is, right now, mathematically, the cost of waiting is very, very high because home values are still climbing. Right now, they're climbing as fast, if not a little bit faster than they have been for quite a while. I know interest rates haven't done what people want them to do. Inventory is decent. It certainly hasn't exploded like many keep trying to scare people into thinking it will. But I can tell you, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. If you're a home buyer and you want to and you can afford to, I would encourage you to buy quickly because values are continuing to rise. You can capitalize on lower interest rates later with a refinance, but you're going to be dealing with higher cost of housing later. Most likely, I'm certainly not positive about that, but all the data points to buying now being the best financial decision. Again, that doesn't apply to you if you can't do that right now, or if you don't want to do that right now. But if you want to, and you're worried that it might not be wise, there is real wisdom in that. Let's have that conversation. If you're thinking about selling right now, and you're also wrestling with, would that be wise? It is a good time to sell when there's still low inventory and there's solid buyer demand. You may not want to wait for a potential low buyer demand market. So let's have that conversation. It doesn't mean everybody should go right now, but it means if you want to and you can, start the conversation now. You might find out, many of our clients are finding out, that there's a lot more opportunity in this market than they think. This is not what I call a stable market. This is what I call a middling market. It's kind of a murky, confusing, middle of the road market. But what that type of market creates, lean in, hear me clearly, what that murky, confusing, middling market creates is a huge opportunity when you have a great agent, great lender, great title company, great inspector, when you have a great team around you to win big on both sides. If you're selling and buying, sell high, buy a little bit lower. Don't have to give a lot of concessions to your buyer, but you can get good concessions from your seller. That comes down to a customized strategy, and that's what we do here at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team. Go to toddtremontiteam.com or call or text 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008 or toddtremontiteam.com or just Google Todd Tremonti.
Yep, this first segment was brought to you by Patrick Galeros and his team at Cardinal Financial. Like I've told you for years now, if you're looking to take out a mortgage, refinance, any questions that you might have when it comes to mortgages, reach out to Patrick. You can go directly on his website. You can reach out to him that way. You can start an application there too. PatrickGaleros.com, Glaros, PatrickGaleros.com, NMLS number 308804. And as always, ToddTremontiTeam.com. Clicking the radio tab will give you access to all of our recommended pros and vendors. Talking of mortgages, why the heck are mortgage rates not coming down?
Let me try to give you a short answer. Because of inflation. That is the stated answer. Now, I hate to always have to do this, but to be ethical and above board, the Federal Reserve controls bank rates. Bank rates do not technically directly drive mortgage rates, but they almost always correlate. The Federal Reserve is not lowering the banking rates because they're saying that inflation is still too high. That's the shortest answer I've got.
There might be some people out there that don't know what inflation means. Can you give a quick summary of
the
what that is?
oversimplified answer of inflation is the same things are costing more, right? So the cost of the normal things you buy, sell, and have to live, food, gasoline, shelter, are costing more. With the other problem with the current inflationary climate is that wages aren't necessarily growing as fast as inflation is. So everybody's trying to needing to spend more without necessarily having more. And so it's really hitting a lot of people hard. There are some really smart ways to think and make decisions and even invest where inflation can hurt you less or even help you. And let me just say very quickly, owning real assets, real estate being one of the best ones, is a good way to do that. So when there is inflation, we tend to see the value of real estate inflate up with it, and we are seeing that.
So, realistically, for the last 8-9 months, we've been getting told that mortgage rates will come down, right? They're going to come down. They're going to get cut. There's going to be multiple cuts, but it hasn't happened. Do we still foresee that something's going to happen? I'm sorry, I said cuts. That's the Fed rate. But
no, you're right.
The thought was that would impact the mortgage rates.
One of these days, we may change the name of this radio show to "What do the headlines actually mean?" But that's not what we're going to do. The point is, you're right. That's been the message from media outlets, right? Is there will be rate cuts, and we never had that promise. We never had that certainty. It's always we hope to, we intend to, we want to, we're looking at. And on this show, we have never told you that this will happen. We have said this has been indicated. This might happen. This is what is being proposed. The reality is this. The Federal Reserve changes those banking rates, the rates that banks borrow from each other at, based on whether they want more money to be available out in the economy or less money. And right now, they're trying to have less people borrow, less people spend, and as crazy as it sounds, they want less people employed. They want a little bit of pain in the marketplace so people will pull back and the cost of materials will go down because demand will go down. They think, and they never get this perfectly right ever because it's pretty much impossible to get perfectly right, that once we start seeing some negative economic numbers, like less jobs, less spending, that then inflation will come down and then they could potentially lower rates to re-stimulate the economy. That's an almost impossible job. Now, I'm not like losing any sleep over how hard these people have it, but like to perfectly navigate the United States economy, holy moly, what an impossible job. So that's the shortest answer I can give you, and then a little bit longer answer. But to answer your last question, do we still think there could be rate cuts? Yes, we still think there might, maybe, possibly could be rate cuts. But the chairman of the Federal Reserve said recently it's also possible that we could see a rate increase instead of a rate decrease based on the economic data that they look at. One of those being CPI, Consumer Price Index, basically a weird, imperfect calculation of what things cost, and employment numbers, and then, of course, tons of other numbers. So there's just no certainty about what would happen. And when there's no certainty about the future, I encourage our clients and our friends and our neighbors to make decisions about what we do know. And what we do know right now is that if you sold your house, there's a good chance you could get the highest price anyone's ever gotten for that house. But also, if you bought right now, there's a good chance you can get a reasonable deal from a reasonable seller, and that's not always the truth. So there is a strategy, not one size fits all, but there is a strategy to sell high and buy a little lower right now. If that's the situation you're in, reach out to the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team. Go to toddtremontiteam.com, toddtremontiteam.com, or 214-310-0008, 214-310-0008.
Get us your peanut butter and jelly so we can get it to the food banks before June hits, that's when they need it. That's when they need to have as much as they can because need. They
not
don't have enough.
Join us, friends. I am not at all apologetic or embarrassed to ask you. Would you Venmo $20 at PBJ Drive? On Venmo, just look up at PBJ Drive. You can send $20. We will go spend at least $20. Usually we add a little bit to that on peanut butter and jelly. And then we will personally deliver that to the North Texas Food Bank or the Tarrant Area Food Bank or both or whatever. But those are the two food banks that we contribute to through our peanut butter and jelly drive that we are doing right now. You can simply Venmo right now at PBJ Drive. Or if you want to grab the friends, grab the kids, grab the office, and go buy peanut butter and jelly. Put your hands on it. See it, feel it, touch it. Experience the change that you can impact. Then you can drop that off at our office in Richardson or our office in Fort Worth. And all that information is on the web at pbjdrive.com. So online at pbjdrive.com or Venmo at pbjdrive. $20, $50, $100, $500. Make a big donation. We'll be glad to shout you out on the air soon. But this is not about promotion. This is not about ego. This is about feeding hungry kids, hungry seniors, hungry anybody. In North Texas, we shouldn't have people that need a meal and can't get a meal. So at pbjdrive.com or Venmo at pbjdrive.
Let's play a little Stump Todd segment, shall we?
Here we go.
Do we have any music yet for this? Working on it?
What should it be?
I don't know.
All right.
Creative. So the world is your oyster. Go on. The world is your oyster.
Sorry about that.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Post-it note.
A Post-it note. Well, here's my initial thought on that.
I wish you could have all seen his face. It was excellent.
Well, I'll unpack that later. What I love about a Post-it note is there's not room for a paragraph. There's room for a phrase, right? And I love simple. As a matter of fact, I teach all the time that in small business, we want our world to be as simple as it can be, but as complex as it needs to be. Most things in life that, believe it or not, most things that are going to pivot your marriage, your business, your finances, your parenting should and could fit on a Post-it note. Keep it simple. Simple is achievable. Simple is repeatable. Simple, we can have confidence. I can do that. If you can fit it on a Post-it note, most of us would believe I could do that. Right? Now, I would caution you from having 920 Post-it note instructions in your life. But what I love about a Post-it note is that it forces you to simplify the idea to a place that you believe in it and that you can repeat it and that you can be consistent with it, and that can move the world. Massive change can be had with an idea that can be simplified to a Post-it note. Now, the reason you got the stone cold look from me is because Stump Todd has had two different flavors. It's had, let me throw out an idea and see if you can give us a valuable, instructive idea with it. It's also had, here's a question, do you know the answer? So I didn't know if you were finished and there was some cryptic question coming.
Courtney stopped me from asking questions, so.
No, I like it. We're in tune with the idea. But listen, whether you use an actual Post-it note from the Post-it, which I think is 3M company, by the way, or you're talking 3x5 card, or write it on your mirror, or put something by the speedometer, I'm a big fan of keep it simple, stay consistent, move the world little by little, day by day. Love your family, love your kids, serve your neighbors, get a little bit better every day, and 5 years from now, it'll be a completely different world.
I would now like to play Courtney Learns Real Estate.
Oh, this is my favorite. Okay, hold on. Let me.
I still need to work on my music.
People love it. People love this segment. Now, with all due respect to everybody, Courtney is our media marketing director, producer extraordinaire of all things audio, video, and digital, not a real estate agent. So it makes sense that she doesn't know all these things, but she's learning rapidly. So here we go.
Okay.
Hey, Court.
Yeah.
What's a 2-1 buy down?
Okay. A 2-1 buy down.
This is not good.
Okay. I get 2 houses for the price of 1.
And you're like buying it down? Or?
I'm buying it down. I have no idea.
I can tell.
Okay.
I still love you.
Is this like, tell me, I mean, what, is this a benefit? Is this something I want?
Let's play a game called Ian Explains to Courtney what Ian asked Courtney.
Is Ian going to get in trouble?
No, he knows.
Okay.
We'll see if I know this. For all your mortgage needs, you can reach out to Patrick Glaros. PatrickGlaros.com. Great place to start. A 2-1 buy down. You can also have a 3-2-1 buy down.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Is where you're getting a cheaper in mortgage rate for like the first year, and then it goes up a little bit the next year, and then it goes up again. That would be on a 3-2-1 to the full amount, but you've paid to buy it down.
So is this like an entry point? Is we talk about a way to get a lower mortgage?
Yeah, you pay like a premium amount to be able to get for that first year
I think
a lower mortgage rate, and then it goes up the next year, and then it would go to like the full amount the year after
I think of it as a ramp up. It's like wading into the pool. So you're like, man, I really don't want to have to buy a house at 7% interest rate. But if I could get it for 6 the first year and 6.5 the second year, I could work my way up to 7 for the third year and beyond.
So or that 2-1 or that 3-2-1 is the number of years.
Yes.
Okay.
Or I'm hoping that over those 2 years, I would have a chance to refinance down, so I never actually have to get to the full rate. But very important part, you are paying for it. Now, to Ian's point, you're paying up front. So the person giving you the loan is they're not just doing this to you for you as a favor. They're saying we could structure this in a way that might be more palatable and achievable for you to get into this house. Sometimes you can negotiate for the seller to pay that expense for you, or sometimes a builder might offer that as an incentive. We'll pay the expense to help you kind of ramp up, or to permanently buy your interest rate down. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. But basically what those numbers are telling you is for X amount of years, you'll get a 1% for 2 years, you'll get a 1% lower rate. Or for 3 years, there's a lot of different ways to do it. But the most popular phrase you'll hear is, oh, you can do a 2-1 buy down.
And this is a mortgage phrase.
This is a phrase when it comes to how you borrow for buying a house, which is a mortgage, and what rate you pay for how long you pay it.
So you have to work with your lender, because you can there's ways you can get it kind of wrapped up into your closing costs, but your closing costs have caps on them.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to work with a lender to figure out, okay, do I need to bring any out of pocket? Is there ways that we can get credits from the seller? Is there ways we can do these things? And a really good lender will be able to help you figure out what's the best way to go about it.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask about. Wow, how does the seller credit work? Like, so I'm selling my house, you're getting a 2-1 buy down. I'm like, I'll give you $10,000 towards.
It could work a lot of ways. It could be like, hey, here's a chunk of change. You can use it however the heck you want. Or it could be like, hey, we will pay whatever the fee is to get your interest rate lower for the first year or two. So it's a wild, wild west. But oftentimes you'll hear a builder say, we guarantee X% on the loan. And basically what they're saying is we'll pay whatever it takes to get your rate down. Maybe for a year, maybe for 2 years, maybe forever. Obviously, there's a trade-off.
Wait a minute. Yeah. I can pay a certain amount to get a different rate?
Yes, but think about it this way. You are paying up front what you probably would have paid over the life of the loan. They're not going to lose money on that. But they might say, if you just feel better in your family budget with your payment being $2,200 instead of $2,600, instead of paying us the $400 more every month for the next 15 years or 30 years,
you can pay
us $25,000 up front. And I just made those numbers up. But whatever that is. Now, sometimes there's a little advantage to paying up front. They might give you a little bit better deal because they get their money up front. But the point is, it's not just free money. It's a different way to structure it. Now, it may be free to you if you could get the other party, the seller or the builder or someone else to pay for it for you. But there is a way for you to get there. The other way is with an assumable loan. We don't have time to talk about that right now. Go to Todd Tremonti Team. Call or text 214-310-0008 if you're looking to buy. There is a way we can help you buy a house on like a 3% mortgage rate right now. And it's not as impossible as it sounds.
I would just like to point out that Ian Explains Real Estate nailed it.
Wow.
I thought he did a pretty good job. I'm pretty happy about it. Way to go, team. All right. If you're thinking about buying or selling a house, you absolutely can wait too late. As a matter of fact, most people wait way too late to have this conversation. You cannot, however, start that conversation too early. We offer free strategy sessions, no charge, no obligation required. We can do it on Zoom or in the office, or we can at least get it started on the phone. Go to ToddTremontiTeam.com. That's ToddTremontiTeam.com, or call or text 214-310-0008. And all you got to say is, hey, I'd like to get one of those strategy sessions. I heard they're free. When could we do that? You come in the office, we'll buy you a cup of coffee or a Topo Chico or a Coke. If you want to do it on Zoom, we'll schedule that. If you need to start it on the phone, we'll start it on the phone. 214-310-0008 for a free strategy session, or toddtremonti.team.com. Most people wait too late. You cannot start too early. Want to do a quick shout out for goodgaragefloors.com. We had some friends over last weekend and they were like, is that a pickleball court? We were like, it is. It's been kind of rainy, so it's a little slippery. They're like, we want to play. So we got the squeegee out and the broom out, squeegeed off the court. We ended up playing for like 2.5 hours, and they were like, this is amazing. Who has a pickleball court in their backyard? And we're like, well, honestly, we really just had this funky concrete slab. Then we had goodgaragefloors.com come out, and they're the ones that made it. We didn't even ask. We didn't even dream this up. They told us what was possible. They did the work in a couple of days. It was incredible. We love goodgaragefloors.com. Then, of course, we went and showed them the garage floor that they had done that is absolutely awesome. So if you're looking to get your garage floors coated, any sort of solid concrete floor coating, outdoor sport court, patio, decking area, go to goodgaragefloors.com. That's goodgaragefloors.com, and tell them Todd Tremonti sent you. I cannot repeat this too many times. This is a great time to be both seller and buyer. We are helping people win on both sides all the time right now because the market is so confusing and overwhelming and multifaceted. There's opportunity to take advantage of really great strategy. The market is not wildly slanted where all sellers are winning and all buyers are losing, or all buyers are winning and all sellers are losing. It's murky, it's confusing, it's complex, it's in the middle somewhat. Because of that, we're able to customize a strategy for sellers and customize a strategy for buyers and win really, really big for our client on both sides all the time. Go to toddtremontiteam.com or call or text 214-310-0008.